So what we are going to do is we are going to create an account on AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services, powered by Amazon, of course, and it provides us a lot of service like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, a lot of things. What we are going to do is we are going to create a server which we called as EC2. EC2 is Elastic Compute. So what you are going to do is either sign in on AWS if you already got an account, or just create an AWS account. So once you are done with the sign up, once you have an account, just log in. Just log in to the console. Since I'm already logged in, so it is not allowing me to create an account now. I have logged into my account. Just search EC2. EC2, as I told you, EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. This is the virtual servers in the cloud. These all my current instances running. What you can do is just go to the launch instance, and you can opt for any of the machine. I generally prefer Ubuntu, so you can go with the Ubuntu. If you want to try Amazon Linux, you can go with that, but I would just prefer Ubuntu. This T2 Micro, this is a free tier server. If your account is new, maybe you are eligible some of the free products. EC2 is one of them, so you will not be charged. Then just click on next and make sure you review your security policy. I'm just selecting some existing Telegram policy. What it says is, it is saying just allow port 80 to any of the source, HTTP to any of the source, 8000 port, and then port 22 to any of the slot. Right. So these are the security groups, or these are the port range which I am opening right now. Let's create an instance. So let's launch it. So this is my existing key pair. If you don't have any key pair, you may choose to create one, and if you already have existing one, just use that and just click on the launch instance. As an alternative, if you don't want to create by this process, what you can do is I have already shared AMI ID in the course or in the slides. What you can do is you can simply take that AMI and spin up your own instance from that image. That image is proper full working image. So what we are going to do next, after installing everything, if you somehow you are unable to do that, you can simply refer AMI ID and you will get all those things. Even though those steps are very simple, but still as a backup I have provided AMI ID. So this is installing. Once my instance is up and running, we will install all those packages and whatever is required in order to run my application. Now since our Telegram instance, I named it as Telegram demo. Now this instance got ready, it's in running states. So let's SSH to the server. This is the information, this is the IP address. So let's see what we have got over here. Let's copy the IP address. So the simple command to log in to any server is, first of all we type username and then @ and then we pass on the IP, and if it is open, it might allow us to go inside, but of course our server is secured, or we need some sort of either password or we need PEM file. So we have to provide the path for the PEM file. So we can provide it like this, -i, and then I can. So this is the path of my PEM file. You may pass on wherever you save your PEM files, and now I have logged into the server. So let's see. I stop. it simply tells me my server has one core and my server has 1 GB of RAM, and that's it. And I can say free -h. This is the command. I can see how many memory is there. So there is only 978 MBs of memory, which is a RAM, and like that. I can see, is there any Python version installed over here? There is no Python version. And if I see 3, there is a Python 3.8 already installed on the server. Yeah, so pretty much this is the thing which is already available, and let's see what I need to do next. So I have created a EC2 instance, and now there is this file which I have already created, the commands which we need to do. I have provided all those commands whichever is we are going to type over here, so that you have reference and you can see what exactly we are going to do. So yeah, first of all we have done the SSH, and then there is small reference, you may refer this. Right now we are just going on by on. So first of all what we need to do is we need to first of all upgrade our packages. So this is some archive, this is a package required, may not be required. Yes, package is done. Let's install update and upgrade. So this is, so whenever we create a new instance, we have to update our dependencies, whatever is there in our instance. So now my upgrades are done. Next step is to install all the Python related libraries which we need. So let's see. It will install Python 3.7. We already have Python 3.8, so I guess it is not required. And then we can install the libpython and all devs, Python 3 all dev and Python 3 venv. So these are the extra packages which we are going to need. I've installed all. So yeah, that's it. We have our setup ready and we have Git already installed. So now it's time to download the code and run the services. So first of all what we need to do is, first of all we have to create a virtual environment as we did on our local system while creating a project. So let's create a directory called codes. Whatever we are going to add, it's going to this directory codes. This is we have created Telegram bot and it's empty. Now let's create two. So just to verify which Python version we are using, currently we are using this, and which Python it is referring to, it is referring to this Python, the main systems Python. But what we want to do is, now we want to create a Python virtual environment. So this is the command python 3 -m venv. We want to create a virtual environment and this is the name of the environment. So let's see. As you can see, there is a directory called this, and you know the command to activate the virtual environment. It's directory of venv bean and activate. Now it activates the virtual environment, as you can see. Why do we need virtual environment? Just to recap, we need virtual environment so that whatever dependencies we are going to install for our particular project, it goes to this directory, not globally. So it is a good habit to install venv. And just to check what we have, we can run this command. Sorry, it's freeze. It say that so pip freeze is a command which just displays whatever is there in the venv. Right now we don't have anything, so it has not displayed anything yet, and it is empty. So what next we are going to do is we are going to clone the repo. Now this repo, I'm just going to clone it, and I know there is only one folder. Let's clone this directory. Now since it is a public repo, so it is not going to ask me any of the ID, password or something. But since when you will do, probably you have to pass on your own password for the GitHub account, or alternatively you can set up your .ssh where you don't provide password, but it will automatically pick your server's SSH and it will clone or download the directory. Now since bot services already downloaded the code, let's go to that, and yeah, we can see all these readme file, all these packages over here. So since we have got the code, now the next step is we can see pip freeze, it's of course empty. The next step is to install all my packages. So we have created this file called installed packages. We have created this file called install packages, where we define all the packages which we are going to need, and let's install that. So we are going to install pip -r is for recursively, and whatever is going to be there inside this file, it will install all files recursively. So yeah, first of all it is downloading, we can see. You might see sometimes this sort of error where wheel is unable to build. Let's not worry about those things. So if you just run it again, it will not give you any error. That means your all the installation has gone through. And if I say again pip freeze, there are these many packages are installed. There are a lot of packages. We have just passed only 8, but it has almost created almost 20 plus packages over here, because some of the package which we are referring, they again refer to another dependency, and then that dependency refer to another dependency, like that. So it's a good habit, just note down the package you have used and let Redis work. So yes, now since our package is installed, next step is to run the migration. Since here what we are using is SQLite. We are not using any MySQL or Postgres or something like that. If we have used those things, we have to configure those over here, but since it's a very simple project, we are going with SQLite. So essentially we don't have to provide any of the external Postgres or MySQL configuration. If I just go to Telegram and settings file, and if I just show you my database, it just says that backend SQLite 3, and this is the file. Currently there is no this file because we have not applied the migration, but now after applying the migration, it will create this file. Since it's a very simple project, so we are really not concerned about which database we are using. So let's simple apply the migration. Let's see, there is no SQLite file, and apply the migration now. With this command, and all this migration has been applied successfully, and let's see, now we have got this file. db.sqlite and with some of the space. So this is all for the migration, and the next step is of course to run the server. Since there is nothing more to do right now, let's run a server. So you just need to make sure that while running server on the EC2 instances, you explicitly have to provide IP as 0.0. On our local machine, we don't provide all these things, but on the EC2 instance, we have to provide 0.0 so that we can connect to EC2. Now, since our server is up and running, we can go to this and let's change the IP. What IP we have? We have got the IP is this IP. Let's change the IP, and yes, congrats, our site is up and running. But why it is throwing error? Because our application, it is not allowing this IP to sneak peek into our project because it does not recognize this IP. What we have to do is over here is just go to the settings file, and there is something called allowed host. If you search this, there is this called allowed host. What allowed host does is it allows only those IPs, or you can say domains, which domain can be accessed to this project. So we have to whitelist those domains. Maybe you want to host this your application at abc.abc.com, something like that, your own domain. You just need to whitelist it. Otherwise, Django will not understand. Okay, is this the correct domain which is referring to me? And if it is not, it will not allow you to access those files. So let's run it again. And yeah, now this IP is whitelisted. I can see my project, and if I go to the admin, it is asking me username and password. Of course, we have not created a username and password yet. Let's create one now. So there is this command for creating a super user. Let's close this service. Let's run this command. It is asking me for the username. I say admin. It is asking me for the password, admin@admin.com, something like that, and just my password. And yeah, so I have successfully created a super user. Let's run the server again, and let's go to the admin, and I'm just and yes, here we are. We have all the data available. We have all the models. Of course, there is no states, there is no Telegram user, there is no district, so there is no data as of now. But our server is up. We are able to host our application on a particular IP, on this IP, and our server is running perfectly well. This is it. This is the command which we have to use in order to run our service. Let's use one last thing. So let's see if our Telegram service is running or not. So currently there is no service running for this particular Telegram. This will not respond, and let's run the service and let's see now. Now it is responding. I am just saying list states. It is responding, but there are no states as of now. Why? Because we have not imported any data. So yeah, so our next step is to import the data. How we can import the data? Just go to shell, and we know how we have imported the data. We have created two models called states and districts. Let's go to that. So we have created two nice functions called sync in the districts and in the states. What it will do is they pull all these data. So let's do that on our server. So first of all, we need to do sync from state. So we are simple saying sync is a class method, and yeah, it's done. And then we can say district, and we can say, yeah, district is taking time because it is getting all the data from all the states. And if I just go there in my admin panel, I can, okay, my service is closed, I need to enable my service. So let's check on the Telegram. So if I say states, now it is listing all the states, and if I say this, now it is listing all the districts. So this is how we are able to create an instance, and our services are running fine. As a next step, what we have to do is we have to make sure that we don't have to run this command manually. These run without any interference, and this command should run as a service on your server so that they are always up and running and respond. So in the next video, we will install a service provider, or we will install a package called supervisor, which will take care of all these requirements. That's it. Thank you.